Hello, welcome back to another episode of Initial Impressions. My name is Kayli Pommering and I'll be your host today. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you feel more at peace. Every other week, I share different tools that you can do in your life to help create more emotional control, to help work through any emotional blockages or traumas, anything holding you back. I want to help you show up as that next level version of yourself and become and achieve everything it is that you've ever dreamed of. It seems pretty daunting, but if you can just become 1% better every single day, you'll be amazed at the results that you'll see in your life. And so that's really what I want to help you do. Just become a little bit better every day, a little bit more of the person that you want to be, and to really feel fulfillment and joy in your life. And so I do that by sharing different tools. And today's topic is why you feel stuck and how to rewrite the story. I feel like I hear a lot of people saying that they feel stuck. Maybe they feel stagnant in their life. They're not sure what's next for them. And maybe, you keep trying to level up and it seems like you just stay exactly where you are. Maybe you have goals and aspirations, but it just seems like it's one roadblock after the next, and you don't know what it is that you need to do or change in order to really manifest those goals, achieve those goals that you're trying to accomplish. It's my personal belief that when you are stuck, it is because of the story that you're telling yourself. Even the concept of being stuck has a very negative connotation. And when we have different circumstances in our life, we get to choose how it is that we perceive them. And the way that we perceive them affects not only how we feel, but the actions that we take towards that goal or to overcome the obstacle. And so when you tell yourself a story that is quite limiting or makes you feel like you are stuck, like you are incapable of progression, that no matter what you do, you're unlucky, or no matter what you do, things don't work out for you. Those stories are not serving you. They are tempting to believe in, but can you not feel how unnatural they actually feel to believe? Why do you think it is that when you say, I'm unlucky, or I can't figure this out, or I've tried for so long, I'm not good enough, I'm not qualified, I can't do it? There's a reason why those statements do not feel good when you think them. That's because they're not true. They're not true about you. They're not true about what you're capable of. And when you tell yourself these limiting stories, especially repetitively over long periods of time, some people have been telling themselves these stories your entire life. Maybe that's you. Maybe your whole life you've thought of yourself as being someone who is unlucky, as being someone who always has to work harder than everyone else, or has been on an uphill climb their entire life. The stories that we give, the situations that we're in, have a huge factor on not only what happens next, but how we approach the situation that we're in this moment, and most of all, how we feel in this moment. Now, if you think of any goal that it is that you've ever had, if you really, really think about why it is that you wanted it, what you thought it would accomplish, it's almost always intrinsically tied to the way that we think that outcome is going to make us feel. So if you think when you reach success in your business, you'll finally feel freedom. When you receive validation from others and you receive that external success, it's going to make you feel complete. It's going to make you feel worthy or qualified. It's going to make you feel like it really was your calling because everyone else affirms it. Those feelings, we work really hard. We work so hard for feelings. And it's quite ironic because if your beliefs aren't aligned with the feeling that it is you're trying to accomplish, then no matter what type of external validation you get, the result is going to be extremely fleeting. And so if I really don't believe that I'm worthy, if I believe that I'm unlucky, and a good thing happens to me, I'll say, oh, well, this was random, or this is out of the ordinary, and I wasn't really deserving of this, and all these things. You'll reach the success and you'll still tell yourself a story to deny yourself the opportunity to have the feeling you were working so hard for. Now, why is it that we do this? Why is it that we tell ourselves stories that make us feel bad when all that we really want is to feel good? A lot of it has to do with the way we were raised. A lot of it has to do with what we think to be a protective mechanism. We think we're being realistic, or that by assuming the worst, we're somehow protecting ourselves from this inevitable disappointment of life. But once again, that's a story that these disappointments are negatives, or that when things don't seem to work out the way you wanted them to, that is for the worst. Or when you're late and get a flat tire and you hit the stoplights, that was a bad thing. Because in the immediate future, it seems like it's resulting in chaos or a negative outcome of some kind. We tell ourselves a story for some reason that this isn't serving us. A lot of that is habitualized, and it's actually not practical, and it's actually not serving you. It's more often than not just things that we've heard from our childhood and our upbringing and the people that are around us. And a lot of people in the world really push this agenda that life is just not working out for you. That because we experience negative emotions, it's not working out for us. Because people betray us, because people hurt us, because we disappoint ourselves, because we're imperfect, that then everything is just falling apart and nothing is working in our favor and the future is gray and just a lot of negatives, a lot of pessimistic thinking. And it's really not protective at all, because instead what it is you regurgitate. When you have these views about your past, or you have an agenda to which you try to take past circumstances to defend, you're going to find yourself creating those situations in the future. So when I say that I'm unlucky, and then people say, well, why do you think you're unlucky? And you go through and you list all the times that you were unlucky, you're defending this belief that you're an unlucky person, which then puts you in positions in which you're going to be unlucky. And it also keeps you in a state of having little faith or belief that things are possible for you. And so you're not as receptive to opportunities when you hear them. You don't notice them quite as well. And so you keep yourself in a reoccurring rut, and you say, okay, well, what's wrong with that if there really was circumstances to back up the reason in which I feel that I'm unlucky? And what's wrong with that is you haven't been unlucky your entire life. Surely if you go back, there has been good things that have happened to you too. Surely if you go back, you can see how when different things were denied to you, in the moment it might have felt shitty, but later on in life you realized it actually was a blessing that you didn't get that thing that you thought it was that you wanted. Or when people have disappointed you, you could have viewed it as it's a good thing they did this now and not years later. So it's really just a matter of you tallying up the negatives rather than tallying up the positives, and using the negatives as your reasoning for defending your current state, which is not serving you because it's perpetuating your future. Now, all that might sound a little bit confusing, but once again, I draw this back to why is it that we do the things that we do for the way that it is that we want to feel? And so if you're really doing everything for the way it is that you want to feel, why are you defending your stuckness so aggressively? Why are you resisting the possibility that things are working out for you so harshly? What is it that you think that you're protecting yourself from by doing that? And what kind of future do you think you're setting yourself up for by believing these negative things about yourself and about your situation in life? So there's a parable called Good Thing, Bad Thing, Who Knows? And I love this parable because I feel like it really sums all of this up in a super easy to understand kind of way. And it's about this boy who comes from this very poor family. And they were very poor, but they were happy. And he really wanted to change his circumstances. He lived in a small village and he wanted to be wealthy very badly. And so he said, okay, I'm going to borrow a lot of money from my neighbors and I'm going to buy a stallion. And so he goes and he does that. He buys the stallion. It's a beautiful stallion. He says, I'm going to breed horses. Okay, so then his stallion goes loose and the neighbors all come around and they say, oh no, you've lost your stallion. Now you're even in worse odds than you were before. You owe us all this money. You'll never be able to pay it back. How sad, how unfortunate. And he says, good thing, bad thing, who knows? Well, then he is wandering around outside in the village and he sees off in the distance his stallion is running around with a bunch of other wild horses. And he thinks, okay, I'm going to try to lure them back into the stables. And so he does. He lures them back in and everyone comes around and they say, oh, wow, fortune's smiling upon you and you've attracted all these horses. You're so wealthy now, all these things. And he says, good thing, bad thing, who knows? Well, then he has to break these horses in, right? They're wild horses. And so he's on top of one of the horses trying to break it in and it kicks him off. And he gets tossed to the ground and the horses step on his leg and it breaks and it heals crooked. And everyone comes around and they say, oh my goodness, you'll never find someone to marry. How unfortunate that you have a crooked leg. And they tell this sad story about how he's just going to always be alone. And he says, good thing, bad thing, who knows? Well, then a month later, the country goes to war. And soldiers come into the village and they're taking all of the young sons, and they don't take him because of his crooked leg. And so everyone comes around and they say to his father, you're so lucky. You know, all of our sons had to leave and yet you get to keep yours. And they're crying and they're upset. And the son says, good thing, bad thing, who knows? And that is how all of life is. It is so unfinished. And this moment is so unfinished. And the story is still being told. And who knows what purpose it's going to serve in your life in the end. So when you sit there and you tell yourself the story that you're being limited, you give yourself such a negative feeling, such a small place to be in, such an untrue feeling, such an untrue reflection of your worthiness, of the possibilities that are before you. And that perspective closes you off from so many blessings, from so many opportunities, from so many insights, from so many truths. There's a reason it feels so horrible to think these things, to believe that your situation is just so dire that there's just no way out. There is a way out. There is a way forward. And even, let's say, ideas haven't been coming to you. Maybe opportunities haven't been coming to you. Maybe wealth hasn't been coming to you. Maybe things are slower right now. Maybe business is slower. Maybe you don't know what to do next. Maybe you're looking for your passion. You have no idea what's next for you. That does not mean that you're stuck. You're in an energetic holding place while things recalibrate better in your favor. When you feel stuck, life is giving you a unique opportunity to be ready to be ready. What does that mean, to be ready to be ready? That means, how can you make yourself the most receptive, healthy, energetic, excited, in touch person that you can be? So when that opportunity comes, you're ready. You can seize it in that moment. There's nothing to go prepare. You're already ready, you know? You're ready to go. You take an athlete, for example. Their sport, it only goes on for one season. But do you think they wait all year long to exercise, to prepare themselves for that season? No, the really successful ones, they train year round. They keep themselves going. They keep themselves ready for when that season comes. So what are you going to do to keep yourself ready for when that season comes? Because right now, the stories that you're stuck are not helping you. They're limiting you and they're keeping you from preparing yourself. How can you make sure you're emotionally stable and ready for that? How can you make sure that your body is ready, that your habits are lined up, that you're conducive to the opportunity, that there's time in your life for that opportunity to flourish? You have to get things cleaned up. You're stuck? It's your opportunity to get ready to be ready. Because sometimes we feel so stuck and we're so mad that we don't have this thing that it is that we want. But if it really all came right now, would you actually be ready for it? Are you fully prepared? Or are there things that you could be doing to really line yourself up so when that thing comes, you are so ready for it, so excited for it? You feel worthy of it because you've prepared yourself for it. So are you stuck, or are you in a season of preparation while the universe orchestrates a more beautiful and aligned path for you? You get to decide how you interpret these situations that you're in, and they will either limit you or empower you. I make my decisions mostly off what I think is going to make me feel the best. And I'm not talking about that momentary dopamine hit. I mean, what's going to make me feel fulfilled? What's going to make me feel alive? What's going to make me feel empowered and excited about my life? What's going to give me hope? Because I believe that the future that I am building is filled with those things. And if I want that future to be filled with those things, then I need to make this present filled with those things. Because in truth, this moment is all you really have. The future is always a hope, it's always a goal, but it's never guaranteed. So are you going to stand in your own way from experiencing those goals that you're trying to achieve? Or are you going to allow yourself feel the hope of them, feel the calling to them, feel the draw to them, to accept the situation that you're in, and to try to find a way to make this a strength? You have the unique ability to do whatever it is that you feel called to. You are uniquely equipped. Frequently, I'll see people say, oh, well, I can't do this because this person did this, and you see how it turned out for them. They're not you. They don't have the unique things that enable them to be so ready for this. You have no idea, actually, what part that played in their story. That failure that they experienced could have led them to their life's purpose, and that's what it was supposed to serve in their life. But for you, that's not the same. Maybe this is your purpose. Why would you fail at it? Setbacks are opportunities to learn, to grow, and to get ready to be ready. Now, I'm not saying that you're supposed to just like the things that you do not like. You can't do that. You can't want unwanted. But you can tell yourself a different story about the situation that you're in and what purpose it's going to serve in your life. And you get to decide what it is that you believe that you're capable of and qualified for and worthy of. This moment to be stuck in is such a blessing. And there is nothing wrong with this moment. It may not be your final destination, but you'll never be at your final destination. So what will you make out of this moment? Will you make this your why? Will you make this moment your purpose? Will you make this moment the one where you realized how much more you're destined for because the desire for more is so great? That the contrast birthed so much motivation, so much passion. I mean, truly, sometimes I wonder if I would work so hard towards my goals if I hadn't felt the absence of them so strongly. If I would want passion so much if I didn't know what it was like to feel none. If I wouldn't desire peace so much if I wouldn't have experienced chaos. The contrast is compelling, it's motivating, it's invigorating. We all want the motivation, we all want the momentum, but the desires, they're born out of the contrast. And so you have to find a way to be grateful for the contrast and to not give them quite so much power. You empower yourself through those obstacles, and you will reap the greatest rewards from them possible. You can reap the blessings to the furthest extent out of any situation that you're in that you will allow yourself to. It might sound easy. You might think, okay, well, this was too bad. This was too dark. This was too hard. I understand how painful things can be. I understand how dark things can be. And I know sometimes in the moment, the last thing that you want to say is this is going to serve me in the end, or this could be a strength, or, sometimes I found myself in the past thinking, I don't even want to be strong anymore. I'm tired. I'm so tired of having to be strong. But those stories are incomplete. Right now, you might be so tired. You might be so exhausted. You might feel so unfulfilled. You might feel so stuck. But these feelings, they're temporary, and the situation is temporary, and good things are coming for you, and blessings are coming for you, and you deserve love, and you deserve happiness, and you deserve a life that you feel passionate and excited about, and it is within your grasp, it is within your fingertips, and you get to decide, no matter what anyone does to you, no matter how dark things get, you get to decide what limit, what ceiling there is on the happiness and the fulfillment of your life, on the potential that you have to accomplish all that it is that you desire. So will you let them set the ceiling? Will you let their harm against you determine how happy you get to be, how fulfilled you deserve to be, how much love you deserve to experience? They might think you unworthy. They might think you unlovable. They might think you underqualified. But they do not know you, not fully. The only thing that you can do is spend time in solitude and truly understand yourself. Understand your weaknesses, understand your strengths, build respect for yourself through the time that you spent alone to actually getting to know yourself. And in those moments, you'll feel enough self-respect. You'll build enough self-love that you'll say, okay, this was unfortunate, but I am not broken. You're not broken. Your life is not broken. Your future is not broken. You are in an energetic holding place while the universe calibrates a more favorable path for you. I hope that this episode helped you feel a little bit more at peace, help you understand the phase of life that you're in, to make peace with where you're at, to understand how this moment could truly be serving you, and to recognize this opportunity that you have to get ready to be ready. And if this episode helped you, if there's somebody that you think this episode would help, please share it with them. Please like, subscribe. It always means the world to me. And I thank you so much for every single listen, for every rating that you've given, for all the support that you've shown. It is my goal to help literally as many people as I possibly can feel more at peace. And so anything that you do to help push that agenda forward, you're really being a part of something bigger than yourself. And I'm so grateful that you are. I'm so grateful that you're here, that you dedicated this time to you becoming the best version of you, to feeling more at peace, to cultivating a life that looks like how you actually want it to look like, feels how you actually want it to feel. And I hope, as always, that you are leaving more at peace than you came.